Well, with BlizzCon only 2 weeks away, Hearthstone has actually announced the next expansion that will be coming, along with a lot of other information in terms of patch notes and some in-game events and some other things that are happening. Now, this is really interesting, the kind of timing and pacing of this, and I certainly know other people are thinking this as well, but I can't believe that at BlizzCon, especially since they haven't had one in several years, that the only thing the Hearthstone team is revealing will be the last few cards and the cinematic for the expansion. That seems a little lackluster for a BlizzCon, so I'm wondering what they're going to be announcing at BlizzCon. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below what you think they're going to be announcing at BlizzCon beyond potentially just the couple of last cards and the cinematic trailer for this expansion. But let's get into information about this expansion. Yes, we have the next expansion coming. It is called the Showdown in the Badlands. So this is kind of a cowboy Wild West theme of an expansion based on this Bloodrock mining company facing kind of the heroes who are trying to stop this mining company from kind of destroying things and messing up the environment and messing with animals, all sorts of stuff. So we have the new game board, and this expansion will be launching on November 14th with 145 cards, which is very typical. The November 14th is right about a week and a half to 2 weeks after BlizzCon. BlizzCon is the 3rd and 4th, so then 10 days later after the end of BlizzCon is the expansion launch. So again, really interesting with the timing there and seeing what else might come about. But with this expansion, we do have the Bloodrock Mining Company's kind of lead head here, the Sheriff Barrelbrim. Now, he is a neutral legendary, a 4-mana 4/4 with Battlecry. If you have 20 or less health, open the Badlands Jail. The Badlands Jail is a location that will get created onto the board if you have that 20 or less health, that then will be able to allow you to make a minion go dormant for 3 turns. Also, very notable here is it is kind of interesting how it just says make a minion go dormant. So this could potentially be one of your own minions if you maybe need it to be, which I'm not sure if you would, but depending on what other cards are revealed, if there's some sort of minion that you want to awaken on your turn and then be able to use spell damage or some sort of effect or something like that, then maybe there is some sort of combo. We'll see what happens and what gets revealed. But kind of interesting here, the combination of if you have a certain amount of health, you'll get this. There's kind of this fight between this Bloodrock Mining Company and the heroes. So some classes are working with the heroes and some are working with the mining company. It's kind of split in half. So here we have Elise, Badlands Savior. Now, she is working with these kind of outlaws, these heroes, to stop the mining company. And as we can see, this is a priest. There's also Demon Hunter, Druid, Hunter, and Paladin with the priest and Shaman that will have these legendary outlaws. Now, these legendary outlaws are bringing this kind of singleton or no duplicate type decks back into Hearthstone. We've had that in the past, but we are getting it again. So Elise is a priest legendary, 8-mana 5/5 Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, summon 4/4 copies of 4 random minions in your deck. Very interesting here. Again, these are coming out of your deck. They're not just random minions necessarily. They are random from your deck, but they're not just a random like 4-cost minion or anything like that. So you kind of can set it up, but again, because there's not going to be duplicates in your deck, then maybe you've drawn one of those minions that you would have liked to pull a copy. I don't know. But we'll see. This bringing back the no duplicate style decks is going to be very exciting for a lot of people. And I can't wait to see the other classes legendaries and kind of see what direction those no duplicate decks take. Now, on the other side of this showdown, we have the Bloodrock Mining Company, and these classes will do an excavate type ability rather than having legendaries that make no duplicate decks. So the 5 classes are Death Knight, Mage, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. Now, pretty interesting here, the way that this is going to work with excavate. So excavate, you'll have cards that will create an excavate, have an excavate ability, and each time that you play it, it kind of stacks. Very similar to what we've seen with like the tentacles more recently, where the more you play them, the higher the value. So the first time that you excavate, you will get one of these 5 common 1 mana treasures. So it is random between those 5, but you can look at this chart. You'll know exactly what the 5 potentials are. And then the next time that you play an excavate card, you will get one of the 2 cost. And then the third time you excavate, you will get one of the 3 cost cards. Now, those 5 classes that I mentioned, they will have their special legendary, their class legendary, that will be able to provide a 4 mana excavate treasure that I believe are class specific. And it sounds like might be only like a very specific thing, not random like these other ones. So definitely going to be exciting to see what those end up being. These cards here, even though you can generate them, they are not going to be craftable or anything like that. They're only created from playing the cards. So you can't craft any of these. And the other keyword that they have for this expansion is Quick Draw. Now, Quick Draw is basically your card gets an effect if you play it the same turn that you draw it. So the couple of examples that they show here: Dehydrate for Shaman, a 3 mana spell with Lifesteal, deal 4 damage to a minion, and Quick Draw. So if you play it the same turn you draw it, it will only cost 1 mana. Then Trolley Problem is a Warlock spell. It's a 3 mana and says discard your lowest cost spell. Summon 2 3/3 Tram cards with Rush. If you use that Quick Draw ability, you play it on the turn that you draw it, you won't discard your lowest cost spell. And of course, as they've been doing for quite a while, they do have a free legendary card that everyone can get just from logging in. That is available right now. So make sure that your client updates to patch 27.6 so you can log in and get the Thunderbringer. This is a neutral legendary, 8 mana, 6/6. It's an elemental and a beast. It has taunt. With a Death Rattle, summon an elemental and beast from your deck. Well, this is certainly going to change things up, I believe. Pretty interesting card there, but again, it is completely playable right now. As always, they do have the pre-orders available. Does look like there is a Druid skin that you can get with the Mega Bundle, and then, of course, a random legendary. And then, of course, they do have the reveal schedule up, and as I mentioned, reveals will be starting up and going all the way until the final cards are revealed on the first day of BlizzCon, November 3rd. So these last few cards getting revealed during BlizzCon, and then what? I'm not sure. We'll find out. And then again, after that, a couple weeks later is when the expansion will launch. And they did reveal some other cards along the way. So let's take a look at this from the kind of dev trailer, the dev dive into the expansion here. They have Kobold Miner. It's a neutral minion, 2 mana, 1/1 with Battlecry, excavate a treasure. So again, those related cards, you have the level 1s, the 1 cost, the 2 cost, and the 3 cost. So depending on how many times you have excavated, that's what you'll get. seems like a decent neutral card just to have in there for the purpose of excavating. Then we have a Hunter Beast here with Messenger Buzzard. It's a 2-mana 1/2. Death Rattle, draw a beast. Give minions in your hand +1/+1. This doesn't seem terrible, and I like the fact that it gets you a specific draw, but then the hand buff is just minions. I think this would be probably much worse, honestly, if it were just give beasts in your hand +1/+1. But since it just buffs all minions, that I think does have much more of an impact than if it were give beasts in your hand +1/+1. So I like this a lot. Then, of course, the Shaman Dehydrate that we already mentioned. Reap What You Sow is a Death Knight spell here. It is a 3-cost with 1 Frost Rune. Deal 3 damage, excavate a treasure. Again, this is just dealing damage, so this damage can go wherever you want, even to your opponent's face. For only 1 Frost Rune and 3 for 3 plus an extra benefit with that excavate seems pretty good, honestly. Then, of course, you have that Sheriff Barrel Brim that we already mentioned, along with that Badlands jail location. Living Prairie is a Shaman Elemental. It's a 5-mana 5/4 with Battlecry. If you played an Elemental last turn, summon 2 3/3 cows with Rush. Now, the kind of story with this is that this mining company that is excavating is kind of disturbing the elementals and awakening these elementals, and it's also kind of disrupting the animals and the nature around this mining that's happening. So to have these startled cows that are rushers is just hilarious. Who would have thought that we wanted rushing cows, but here they are. Absolutely fantastic, but decent stats on its own. And with more support, maybe an elemental shaman that's a little bit more focused on minions and playing those elementals, again, could come back into the meta. We've had an elemental shaman in the past, so we'll see if there's enough support to make an elemental shaman come back. Then a mage card here, Blast Mage Miner, a 6-mana 4/4. Battlecry, excavate a treasure. For each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. This is kind of wanting you to have a larger hand size, especially if you're going to pay 6 for a 4/4 body. But you do get that excavate effect first, so that will put one of those treasures in your hand, and then that adds to the damage that will be dealt. Next up, we have another Frost Rune Death Knight card. This is Harrowing Ox. It's a 7-mana 7/7, again with 1 Frost Rune. It's an undead and a beast. It has Taunt and Battlecry. If you've excavated twice, your next card this turn costs 7 less. So, wow. That means that you could have excavated a couple of times, play this card, and then get to potentially play maybe even another Harrowing Ox. And then that Ox would give you that effect, and then you could play something else. Or if you have a couple mana, maybe you get to play something that costs 9 and you're only going to pay 2. Now, again, with potentially the spell that we already saw here for Death Knight that has that excavate, we've seen a neutral minion that has excavate. It definitely sounds like this excavate probably will have enough support to get effects like this. So I think this is going to be a very, very good card, and discounting your other things to be able to play things that you normally wouldn't be able to is huge. And the fact that this is just a 7/7 taunt, that's a pretty beefy body. So I think this is going to be a really good card so far based on what we've seen. Then, of course, again, that Elise legendary for Priest, and that legendary neutral that everyone will get for free upon logging in. Well, what do you think of this expansion? Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited? What do you think they're going to announce at BlizzCon? Maybe in addition to the last couple of cards and that cinematic. Are you excited for this? Let me know. Thank you so much for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next one.